Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Glimmer Gang podcast. We have a great episode ahead for you guys. We're going to talk a bunch of cards and also a lot of new news we got from Lorcana. Without further ado, everyone, take it away. What is going on, Illumineers? We are back with episode 24 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. We're all here today for the first time in what feels like a very long time. All four of us are hopping on and talking about Lorcana like we always do. Before we get into the topics of the day, let's check in with everyone. So, Sean, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing, brother?
Doing amazing. Long day, but still, we're still going. Blake, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Been doing a lot of editing for videos and trying to get some stuff out for this week before things with Rise of the Floodborn get even more crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Rise of the Floodborn, we're not even like, we still have so many more cards to go, and it's already crazy. Spencer, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing just fine.
Well, that is amazing. It's always a great day, especially on a Monday when we can all be doing great. But the first thing we're going to dive into today is the big tweet that we got last week. Lorcana on their main Twitter sent out something about the restock, about OP. So let's read through that real quick and we'll talk about it. The first thing that they said, this was coming from the 25th, so when this is posted, this should be rolling out as you guys are listening to this. Booster Pack restock will begin in game stores in North America, which is amazing to see. And the reprint of first chapter boosters and starters has moved up, and they will begin shipping mid-November, which is also great to see. And then in start of Q2 2024, they were going to have official fan events and also a competitive circuit. So what we've been waiting for, I mean, we are a competitive podcast. We are getting the official competitive circuit. We've seen PPG do stuff, and we've seen other events come up, but this is straight from Lorcana and Ravensburg, which is amazing to see. And then we also got confirmation that there's going to be exclusives for each of those competitive events, and then tournament guidelines and other policies, English please, are live on their website. And then they announced 3 of the convention promos. We'll get to those a little later in the episode when we talk about all the cards we've gotten recently. But they are biggest thing to come out of these is there's not going to be a logo on the bottom. Yeah, stamp. So like the Gen Con, the Spiel. I know there's one more. I can't think of the other one. Essen, yeah, or Spiel Essen, not the same thing.
Yeah, Spiel Essen.
Gen Con, one more.
Gamescom.
There you go. And Spiel Essen. Yeah. So those stamps will no longer be a thing. And then there's going to be a slightly different foil pattern to these convention promos, which is awesome to see. Okay, yeah. Just when you are at these events, they will announce how to get these promos, and you might be able to get all 3 at an event. So I want to go to the OP right away. That is what we're here for. Now that and it said we'll get more information on this in January of 2024, which is only October 30th at the time of recording. So it's just a little over 2 months away. Sean, I'll go to you first. What was your reaction when you saw this, and how are you feeling now that we know OP announcements are coming very soon?
Basically, it was kind of, for me, it was a finally moment. You know what I mean? Finally, we have this confirmation on when arguably one of the biggest reasons we're all here in this community and playing this game, it's going to finally drop. So I know a lot of people saw this and their plans changed, like traveling plans. Like I know there was a lot of speculation for people going to like GalaxyCon and PAX Unplugged, etc. So I think that this revelation here is probably going to change that up a bit. I know it has for me. Yeah,
same for me. I know. I mean, once I heard that Set 2 was going to be legal at GalaxyCon, that kind of like put it out of the word. That's not even a saying. Where do I make these things up from? I do this a lot. We need to go through like all these episodes and like the sayings I've made up. It kind of cut those plans off for me. But yeah, as you said, just it's time to save for these events because I know Midwest is looking like it's going to be a big area for these events. We've seen a lot pop up in Ohio already, and obviously Gen Con is in Indy. And there's so many convention centers, and the Midwest is a big thing for TCGs. And Sean and we both live up here, so I think
Fingers crossed, you know.
fingers crossed. And we can get in this later, but we could definitely see I definitely could see stuff out in California. I could definitely see a tournament out in Seattle where Ravensburger is located, and then obviously like Florida, and there's a lot of different places. But yeah, like just that's my personally. I'm now saving for these events. I know the closest one that I can get to is the one I want to be at first. If the first ever official Lorcana tournament is close or manageable, I want to be there because I feel like that's going to be really fun to be at. But Blake, what was your reaction to seeing this news that we are getting OP in the next few months or announcements of OP?
Yeah, I always love my announcements of announcements. One of my favorite things for waiting for my favorite BBS to come out is announcements of announcements. But I still hold a lot of the same feelings that we had at the end of last year when we first started and talked about this, when we speculated on what they would do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still holding out hope um, that they'll be able to. I know it's going to be the first year, so it's not very likely, but I'm holding on to this tiny little sliver of hope that they can do events in other countries like Canada
Mm-hmm.
and elsewhere that especially like Germany,
Yeah.
they'll probably have stuff there because you got like the main Ravensburger over there.
Uh huh.
So they'll probably do stuff over there, but I'm hoping surrounding countries near where those Ravensburger headquarters are get those opportunities to have an event near or closer to them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And obviously, like we have right now, it's in English, German, and France. So uh, I could see those three countries or America at least. And then obviously, I could definitely see Canada getting stuff like Toronto, uh, Vancouver, Ontario. No, Ontario is that a city?
No, that's
Ontario, that's a province.
Province, right?
Okay, that's what I
Province.
thought. That's what I
yeah.
thought. Uh, But yeah, I could definitely see those cities, and then also I could see like stuff in Mexico and stuff down there as well, because I know, at least I believe this is what I heard. People came up uh, from maybe not Mexico, but those countries that are in Central America, South America, to come up to Miami for that tournament, which is pretty cool. So if they get tournaments, that'll be awesome. And also, like we have, is it 10 more languages getting cards or something like that? Uh,
A good number
a
of
good
languages
number.
are getting cards, I want to say,
Yeah.
middle of next year.
Okay. So I could definitely
Really?
see
The only one I've
tournaments.
heard about is Italian.
I bel I believe we
Uh,
got Dutch as well.
I
There
believe
was a
Spanish
tweet.
has been confirmed.
There was a tweet about it
Yeah.
a while ago, I believe. Uh, but anyways, yeah, I could definitely see a lot more countries getting events, and I hope they do because keeping this game worldwide is going to be, I think, what they strive for. Obviously, a lot of other TCGs are very worldwide, so I think that should be a big goal for them. But Spencer, what did you think about this news? And I know, like you, obviously are big on the judge space. If they do, I don't. If they have announced the judge thing, I probably just missed it, or it's going through my head. But if they do like announce a judge thing along with this stuff in January, do you think you'll go for that, or what are your plans knowing that this is coming soon?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna try to get in on the judge side of things, and uh, other than that, my response from the same as everybody else is just awesome, sweet. It's about time. Can't wait to hear more. I'm kind of taking it from the most like pessimistic stance possible and saying like the first event might not be until Origins, because that's still technically Q2.
It's in June,
But
right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, mid June, this next year, and so yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we get something as early as April, but Who knows?
Yeah, I think something I do want to bring up real quick is, do we think these events are going to be at conventions, or are they going to be their own thing? Because you look at like Pokemon, for
Both.
example, both. Okay. You look at like Pokemon, you see like they have their regionals and stuff, but like Magic and other games, they go to conventions. Spencer says both. I think I agree with that. I think like Gen Con will see a tournament. Uh, but Blake, Sean, do you guys have any thoughts on the chance of them being split between conventions and their own events?
I think that only makes sense at this point. They're not established enough to kind of do their own thing like the other big boys and TCGs do at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably attached to cons for now, and then probably within the next few years, probably standalone events will become a thing.
Yeah. Hey, if they do well enough, we could get that Lorcana cruise sooner or later. It's coming.
Hey, exactly.
It's coming. But yeah, that was the OP side of the tweet. Obviously, we got reprints coming, which is great. I think we can all jump for joy a little in that. Uh, and then I also do want to bring up one thing. There's going to be official fan events. So do you guys have any speculation on what these may be? Is this like artists going to be there? Are just like multiplayer events? What do you guys think these fan events will be compared to the competitive events?
Not the slightest clue.
Fair.
I would imagine that it's going to be something focusing on, like you just said, artists. They'll probably do stuff like costume contests, like dress up as your favorite Lorcana character, stuff like that. Definitely the more fun, lighthearted side of our community. Maybe like a thing for pin trading.
Ooh, yeah.
That kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure they'll have like, I think they'll probably do like a multiplayer thing where it's like not really competitive and it's like just, hey, we're trying to get people together. You get like something for participating as opposed to placing well.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how. I feel like these fan events could be like, there'll be more of them in more cities. I could see them doing that just because obviously a lot of competitive players are going to flock to the competitive events, but then I could also see like these fan events popping up more so more people could go to them because I mean, it's hard to tell like how many people are on the competitive side and are just like casual at this point. And obviously, there are a lot of people who are playing the game, but I also know there are a lot of fans that are just collecting it. And I think I could see these popping up more often. But yeah, we're gonna switch.
A card just got posted on the Illumineers stream.
Oh,
Ooh, nice.
well, that's a perfect segue because we are about to talk about cards.
That's crazy.
Where is it? Someone find it. Hurry, hurry.
It's a 2-cost sapphire item called Gumbo Pot with the ability exert, remove 1 damage each from up to 2 chosen characters.
Well, there you go. If you're looking for your heal, Grandpappy, which we will get into. But yeah, that's gonna be really good. Yeah, Gumbo Pot, and there's our first. That's not. They're joined by Cam Kendall, but it's not drawn by him. But there's our first creator reveal for North America. I know we got a lot of German and French stuff, but Lumiteer's got Gumbo Pot. So
I don't know if they revealed it or if Rochelle like dropped it in the stream like she's done before.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, it's there. We have a new card, Gumbo Pot.
I mean, obviously, I have to put this in a deck, so I guess I guess Sapphire Heals is what I'm building. Is one of the decks I'm building next set.
Sapphire Heals. So yeah, Gumbo Pot. But yeah, what before that dropped, what I was gonna say is the 3 convention promos we got are a 2-cost uninkable Pinocchio. It is a 1/1 with 1 lore, and his ability, I can't read this, Telling Lies. When you play this character, you may exert chosen opposing character. So open something up to being challenged into. We have the Rapunzel from the pin. She gifted artist. We knew that. She's a 5 cost inkable, 0 strength, 6 willpower. She is a flood. This is the Floodborn Rapunzel. She has shift 3. And her ability, Let Your Power Shine. When you remove one or more damage from one of your characters, you may draw a card. So, teamed up with the other Rapunzel, gifted with healing that we have from set 1, that's going to be nasty. And obviously, we just got Gumbo Pot, so healing, Amber, Sapphire could be very big. And then we got the last one was a action song, 4 dozen eggs, even though there's only a baker's dozen pictured in the image. It's a 4 cost inkable action song, like I said, and then your characters gain resist +2 until the start of your next turn. What do you guys think of these three? Sean, I'll start with you. Is there anything that stands out with the 3 convention promos that they revealed?
Well, we'll start off with Amethyst Pinocchio. I think that with all of the bounce mechanics we're seeing that are prevalent in set 2, he's going to be great. Also with Rapunzel, the healing that we've already seen with Grandpappy, and she shifts for 3, which is nice. I'm assuming we get another Rapunzel. I don't think we're going to be shifting on to 4-drop Rapunzel. I guess it's possible, but
Seems.
and then 4 dozen eggs. It's kind of meh for me.
Yeah.
I would like it. I'd like to see an item that gives resist +2. That'd be sick.
Ooh. Yeah. I could definitely.
But you can sing it as well, so there's something to be said for that. All in all, I think they're solid. They're really solid cards. Some more than others, obviously, but yeah, and it's I don't know. It's cool to see that they're going to be moving to the stampless versions, like the not specific stamps. So it'll be hopefully the prices will stay a little lower on the back end.
Yeah, for sure. Blake, I'll go to you. What are your thoughts on these event promos?
Um, Pretty much the same as Sean. I do like the Pinocchio with the basically having Elsa, the small Elsa from the first set, with enter the battlefield as opposed to having to exert Pinocchio. So uh, it makes sense that he's inkless. I definitely see him being taking place in the bounce deck for some shenanigans. And I am definitely excited for to talk more about the Amber Sapphire healing deck when we get to some of the other cards that are going to be in that. And then 4 dozen eggs, I'm also kind of met on. I much prefer Grandfather Clock Cogsworth, who just stays on the field and gives the resist. And if you get to him online, then there's your resist too. That'll stick around a little better and longer, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, why not both and then have resist 3?
Oh,
I mean, you're not wrong. I definitely want resist for the Sapphire Emerald deck that I ran. So I'll see if I can squeeze some into that deck. But right now I'm leaning more towards Cogsworth more rather than this song.
Yeah, I think was it? Did he have shift 3 or shift 4? I believe it's shift
For Cogsworth,
4.
shift 3.
Cogsworth shift 3.
yeah. Cogsworth slap. Cogsworth is gonna slap.
Yeah, that's going to be a very
basically
good card.
for this deck, he's going to be replacing the Shift Aurora.
Yep.
Yep. Goodbye, Aurora. Good knowing you. But still, she's a good card. But Spencer, any thoughts for you to round these event promos out?
Pinocchio is freeze on a stick for the same cost, which is cool. Him being uninkable is not great, so we'll see whether he makes the cut in decks. The Rapunzel is interesting. We'll see how the healing archetype works out. Currently, the legendary Rapunzel is just better than the new shift one. but we shall see. And then what was the other card?
4 dozen eggs.
Eggs. Yeah. I think eggs is gonna be a sleeper hit. I think it'll be depending on what decks and whatnot it runs with, but I'm just over here imagining singing that song and then swinging into something with Cinderella Stouthearted with resist 4 and just
I
laughing
Oh
think
myself to
Sapphire
the
my.
Steel
bank.
would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Or again, Sapphire Steel or even Sapphire Amber. You got some bodyguards on the field, and then you're just slapping resist +2 on everything, and you're just like, have fun. like Mickey Musketeer with resist 2. Like, ugh,
Yeah.
oh, it's gross. So yeah, we'll see whether it makes the cut or not. But I think it's got some stonks.
Yeah,
We're also not sure exactly how it works, because this is our first global action that stays. So we're not sure if it acts as like an aura, where once you play it, it's just all your characters get resist +2, regardless of whether you play them before or after the action. Like if it just applies a global aura until the beginning of your next turn, or if it checks what characters are in play when you play it.
that's a
I
very.
I completely missed that it said characters, so I take what I said back. This card's going to be good. I'm with Sneaky.
Yeah.
I completely missed that it hits all your characters.
Oh yeah, it's global. It's dope.
I want to lean on that it's kind of like an aura, so
Yeah.
you can play characters after, but I mean, worst case, you play your characters before you sing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shouldn't come up often. Like the sequencing probably isn't that important, but it's just more of this is the first time we've seen this effect and we don't know how it works in the game,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing.
That is true. We'll want to know the rules on that.
Yeah, hopefully
Yes.
when we get the giant comprehensive rule book that is coming one day, we get that question answered.
One day.
One day. One day.
Soon. TM.
soon. But yeah, those were the 3 promo cards we got. The next card we're going to look at is the other card we got today, which is Belle Bookworm. He's a 3-cost uninkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower. She's a storybound hero princess, and she's the ability to use your imagination. While the opponent has no cards in their hand, this character gets +2 lore. She has a base lore stat of 1, so that would be 3 if your opponent has no cards in hand. Discard. It's going to be big. It feels like it's just, we keep seeing more stuff. Spencer, I'll start with you on this one. What do you think of this Belle specifically, but also the discard archetype that seems to be very popular with the cards we've seen so far?
Again, it's uninkable. And so
Yeah.
that throws instantly throws flags up for me. For her cost though, I mean she's got decent stats. She's a 2/4 like Jasper with 1 lore. And so it's kind of, I mean it's a nice benefit to the discard deck, especially it makes your opponent think about whether they want to play that 1 card in their hand just to get it out of their hand, whether they want to give you an extra 2 lore or not. So she's got some interesting things there. I don't honestly don't know if I take her over Jasper or some of the other options like Cat. Like Cat's just guaranteed 2 lore and it's inkable. So I don't know. Like 2 guaranteed lore versus potentially 3 lore and making your opponent think for some stuff for it being uninkable is just well, I'll see how it plays on the field, but I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that uninkable status is really hurting this card.
Isn't that kind of the point?
I mean, yeah.
Sean, because you spoke up, what do you think of this card?
Everybody knows I love Emerald. I do really, really like the implications of this card. what is it? You Have Forgotten Me. Already sees play. This might be reason enough for Creeping Chill to see play. We have Flynn Rider that already sees play. There's lots of ways to initiate your opponent dumping their hand. So I don't know if she'll see play. I would like to think so in that kind of shell, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Blake, any thoughts?
I will say, just to touch on something else, I'm hoping we're gonna get another Emerald Bell because I do not feel like this one is the shift target for the Floodborn Bell that we got.
Something I saw on, I will interject real quick. Something Brandon mentioned earlier is there is no room for it in the number. 70 is another Emerald card. 71 and 72 are the two bells, and then 73.
Cheap Sapphire Bell then, please.
Yeah,
Someone.
but in that it looks like this maybe the shift bell, which hurts a bit.
Yeah,
But yeah,
because the dream was being able to play that Floodborn Bell on 3. But if this is the case, then that's not going to be happening. So that kind of hurts the Floodborn
yeah,
Bell as well. Just as the whole discard thing, definitely agree with the other 3 drops that we have so far. I would maybe play with like a couple. I don't know if I would even do that. So it's the 3 drop spot for Emerald is pretty tight. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see if there's more that'll make her shine.
yeah. I think she's interesting. Just with like what I said, just without a smaller bell, having this be the shift bell makes it just very interesting in my opinion. I think if there's a discard matters deck that just like is focused on discarding, this will see play. Obviously, the uninkability is hard, but I could somewhat see maybe like a ramp Sapphire Emerald deck, but that's also could be interesting. Speaking of discard, let's talk about Lucifer. He's a 5-cost uninkable, another uninkable in Emerald, unfortunately. He's a 2/2 strength willpower. Has 2 lore, and his ability Mouse Hunter. When you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards 2 cards or 1 action card. Sean, I'll start with you. What do you think about our good old cat friend Lucifer?
Lucifer is okay. A pretty solid card if you ask me. I do like how they're playing around with discards 2 cards or an action, so it punishes people for not playing actions.
Mm-hmm.
If you get right down to it, though, I think the 5-drop spot is already really packed full of good stuff in Emerald.
Yeah.
So I don't know that this will see play over things like Kuzco. So kind of for me, but we'll see. I think it could be fun, like we keep saying, if this discard matters build really fleshes itself out, it isn't just like a mid-tier deck, it could definitely see play. But 5 for a 2/2 with 2 lore, even for what it does, still kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I also find it underwhelming. It I guess obviously is the discard, but how well is it going to help you win a game? I think it's something to think about with it being uninkable. Blake Spencer, any thoughts on Lucifer and the discard with him?
Yeah, did like Sean said, the 5 slot is very tight for Emerald. So maybe if he was a 4, because he essentially does the same thing as You Have Forgotten Me, but with kind of a drawback, where it can and or cannot discard 2 cards for your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they put him at 5, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, you have forgotten me on a stick for the same cost would just be obnoxious.
Yeah, that is
It's
very
true.
true.
It's true.
That's true. I, mm, yeah, doing that on a stick and putting him in maybe a bounce deck instead, that might be something if you bounce them. Yeah, that's still a very high cost. Yeah, well, actually, that makes them pretty good for a bippity boppity boo.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as everyone else. Is it's 5 costs uninkable. So you got to think about it whether it makes the cut or not. And the stat line's pretty bad. The effect is can be really good, but there's also points in the game where it's literally useless. So um, we'll see how the discard matters deck fleshes out basically, and the archetype and whether it makes the cut or not.
Hmm.
There's already so much discard options that it's just like is do we need this card? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Uh, I personally don't think it's going to see much play, just because there are so many other 5 cost Emerald cards that are so good. But we have a 4 cost Emerald card that should be pretty good. It's Daisy Duck. She's a 4 cost inkable. She has 2 strength and 3 willpower. An ability Thwart says whenever this character quests, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So great for multiplayer for one. She has
Oh,
to
for
quest
sure.
when she gets 2 lore. Uh, and I know Blake, you mentioned this earlier. Discarding seems like a good thing for multiplayer. Uh, but what do you think about Daisy Duck? Like, do you think I feel like she's going to see an ample amount of play? Are you on the same boat there?
I am on the same boat. I'm definitely thinking of slotting her into the Sapphire Emerald build that I have. She just demands answering because if you just let her keep questing away, that's guaranteed discard, unlike Flynn Rider, where your opponent has the chance to play around it. It's like if you don't answer Daisy, you're losing cards
Yeah.
every turn. um, and ooh, that would be really nasty in a Ruby Emerald to no. I'm thinking wrong. Fan the flames. Quest again. No, that doesn't work.
No, it don't work.
No.
Hey, maybe we'll get a card that lets us ready up and
But
quest again.
if there is a card that lets you reset characters and still let them quest in the future, that will be insane.
Yeah,
I,
that.
I do think Ruby Emerald is going to be gross.
Yeah,
Next set though.
yeah, it is going to be gross. I mean, you can still do that and protect her from being challenged that way.
hmm
But yeah, it, yeah, she's going to be a good card, and she doesn't even need to. She will go in the discard matters, but outside of discard matters, she's still just a good card to have.
yeah. I think obviously I'll be sliding Daisy into my Emerald decks. Yeah, I think she'll be good. The next 3 cards we're going to talk about is we got all 3 Basils from the Great Mouse Detective. The first one, uh, well, I guess the vanilla one we got is a 4 cost inkable. He is the Perceptive Investigator. He is the Storyborn Hero Detective version of this card. He's a 3 strength 4 willpower with 2 lore, so pretty good statted, I feel like. Then we got the 2 cost Dreamborn here, Detective Basil. He is of Baker Street. He is a 2/2, and then he has support with 1 lore. Then we got the Floodborn Basil, who is the Great Mouse Detective. He is a 6 cost inkable, also 3/4 in the Strength Willpower department. He is Shift 5, and then he has the ability there's always a chance. If you use Shift to play this character, you may draw 2 cards when he enters play. So you want to be looking to shift that guy down, and then he has 3 lore as well, which is always great to have a card with that lore quality. Sean, I'll go to you. What do you think of the Basil line? Do you think these cards could see play in Sapphire decks?
I think that a lot of people will probably skip over Vanilla Basil. But the 2 and 6 drops, I think they could see play. Support, we've already seen some decks that really like support, and then shifting with 5 with Great Mouse Detective to guaranteed draw 2. It's pretty good. I mean, you can't really, and for something that big, you want to guarantee that something happens when it enters, and it does. So whether you can quest for that 3 lore or not, you know.
Yeah. Uh, Spencer, what are your thoughts on our main character from the Great Mouse Detective?
I mean the vanilla basil is Maleficent, just a hero version, which is nice. I'm hoping we see some Detective Matters stuff, but that'd be cool. Little Basil, 2/2 support is pretty cool. Um, I'm a fan. I love support. The Floodborn Basil, I mean, you shift 5, so you're not getting as much value out of shift as you normally would, because normally it's a 2 cost reduction. This is only a 1 cost reduction. And the fact that his ability only triggers off of when you shift him means that it's going to be, it's not consistent. And we all know consistency is king in card games. Plus, his stat line is not that great for a 6 cost. So I'm personally not a fan of this card, but we'll see what happens. I guess if we get like some other really cool basils and some other colors that makes him shifting to be more consistent, then maybe.
Yeah, I will say with some of the other abilities that we've seen and we'll get to on some other cards, I do see Floodborn's for shifting matters deck kind of coming together with Sapphire and Emerald as well, with Bucky, and then some other cards that care about bringing your Floodborn characters into play.
Yeah.
Well, I think every color is going to get a Floodborn Matters card in this set.
Would make sense.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, Flipboard Matters is something that we just saw come. I forgot what card it was on, honestly. Was it? Here we go. Miss Mina is Miss Judson, I believe, is her name. She's a 4 cost uninkable in Sapphire. She's a 1/5 strength willpower, 2 lore, and she has cleanup. When you play a Floodborn character, you can put the top card of your deck into your Inkwell face down and exerted. So more ramp for these Floodborn cards. Do you guys think this will see play? Do you think a Floodborn Matters deck will come up, or is this just putting more value or more lore, I guess, behind the whole Rise of the Floodborn set?
I think it depends on. I mean, as we get more cards and more sets, we're going to get more Floodborns, and so I think even if it's not fleshed out now, it could be fleshed out more in the future.
Oh yeah.
Right now, maybe Bucky sees play. I don't know if Miss Judson does, just because she's 4 cost uninkable, though. Like Basil into something, into Mina, into, or like Basil into Mickey, into Judson, into Shift Basil, drawing 2 cards and getting you an ink. It's a pretty nice line of play. But yeah, again, uninkable, not super consistent unless we see a bunch more Floodborns that are, worth taking and building your deck around. So
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Like a lot of cards we saw in set 1, like the Ana Elsa, stuff like that. Obviously, those are even more like specific. But these cards that like call out these specific keywords, I think we could definitely see them fleshed out in the future once we get more. But the last card I want to bring up before I just open it to you guys to talk about any card you want to is Grand Pappy, I believe. He is a 7 cost uninkable in Sapphire. He's a 3 strength, 6 willpower, Storyborn Mentor. He has 3 lore, which is awesome. But then his ability, Ancient Knowledge, has whenever you remove 1 or more damage from one of your characters, you may gain 2 lore. And obviously, with Gumbo Pot that we just saw, and all of these healing cards, obviously, Amber Sapphire healing it seems like it's going to be really good. I personally very much want to try it. Being able to uh, get all of these cards out that just let me earn lore without even questing. Obviously, we didn't see any of that in set one, but now that we have it here, there are more avenues to win, and it excites me. It's probably the most excited I am about a deck archetype going into set two. It's a deck I want to build the most. But Sean, I'll start with you. What do you think about this whole healing package and Grandpappy specifically? Or not? Yeah, Grandpappy and the healing and all that.
I think much like the shifting matters archetype that we're seeing come out, there's nowhere for this to go but up from where we're at. I mean, it's just
Mm-hmm.
going to keep getting better. We're going to keep getting better and better ways to heal, better and better ways to tank damage to give targets to heal. I think it could be really good. I guess it really all hinges on how quickly you can get him out onto the field, and then having your healing items out there, like the new one we just saw, the gumbo pot, coconut basket, dingle hopper, stuff like that. I feel like those are all really great ways to get him to do something as soon as he hits the board, because he's gonna be a target. Like
Uh-huh.
he's gonna get nuked as soon as people have the chance. So as long as we can have a stable way of consistently getting him out, like maybe if we see a little bit more ramp in Sapphire, because I don't know that what we have right now is good enough to get him there fast enough for it to matter, but I could be 100% wrong.
Blake, any thoughts on Grandpappy and healing package?
I will say, as soon as this card dropped, I checked some of my local stores, and all of the Floodborn Jasmines from set one were sold out.
I
So
bought mine.
I
people
bought
are
mine.
people are getting ready.
It's a coming. Funny one story I don't think I've told on the podcast about my Floodborn Jasmines. I had three, and I had an energy drink on my desk, and I decided to knock it over, but I caught it very quickly, but just a tad bit spilled out. But what were the three cards that were sitting on my desk at the moment? My Floodborn Jasmines. I had to throw them away and buy them again. So yeah, that was great, but I got more. Power of money. But yeah, I think that Jasmine, along with this Grandpappy, is going to be very good. Spencer, any thoughts on our good rock friend from Frozen?
Yeah, I think like Sean said, it's going to come down to, can we consistently get value out of him uh, early enough and throughout the game to make him worthwhile. But I mean, already like his stat line 3-6 for 3 is great. It's just the cost of 7 uninkable that makes him uh questionable. I know a lot of people are talking like Sapphire Amber, just because those are the two healing colors, but I'm thinking that you're gonna see him more in Sapphire Steel, because Steel has the option of you damaging your own character so that you can proc him more consistently and reliably. And Sapphire already has plenty of healing options available to you. You don't need Amber for the healing. Amber comes in if you're trying to take advantage of like the Rapunzels to get some extra draw, but hopefully the other colors will Sapphire itself, and then what Steel in this case will have enough draw support for you to not need that Amber.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm the most excited about it. But if Amber is not needed, that would be very interesting to see what other colors it may be paired up with. But those are like everything that I had in mind to talk about. I'm gonna open up to you guys. Are there cards that have been revealed in the past week, I guess, since recording, that you guys are excited about that we haven't talked about yet? Anything that caught your eye that you're excited to try out once set two comes?
I was gonna say I am 100% on board with Emerald Amethyst Bounce. I'm definitely gonna be seeing how much fun I can have with that.
Yeah, yeah, that's just gonna be so good.
Let's see. Couple cards for me. We have our first card with a double digit stat line
Yeah,
with Goofy Night for a Day. 9 mana, 10/10 with 4 lore. Unfortunately, vanilla, so
I could see it being ramped into.
Ramped into, but
Target right away for
target right away, and if you don't
removal.
deal with them, oh boy.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh gosh.
Well, gosh.
It's getting too late, guys. Just kidding.
One other card that is we got a removal option for Emerald with Ring the Bell for an inkable 3 cost, and you get to banish chosen damaged character,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is very nice. I know that most thoughts are the Emerald Steel Ping deck that most people are calling it, and doing chip damage and finishing them off with like Beast and other characters. But I think this one is actually going to be a solid removal option. I'm even considering it for the Sapphire Emerald High Five deck that I'm running. Because other than Let It Go, I don't really have much other removal. And with most of the characters in that deck, you don't have a lot of strength on them in order to deal with a lot of characters that have higher willpower. So having a way to finish them off if you need to will be really nice, hopefully.
And it's cheap and it's inkable.
Cheap and inkable.
Yeah.
Yep.
We love those cards.
And for Emerald, inkable.
Yeah.
Emerald Inkable? Is that even a
Yeah.
thing?
It's a thing. It's a thing.
And then we've got two more non-vanilla cards to talk about. One that I think is worth mentioning is Sapphire Cruella, 2 cost inkable 3/2.
Oh yeah,
with
she looks neat.
with evasive on your turn. Yeah, one, the art is phenomenal. But I think
yeah.
her stat line is going to earn her a spot in a lot of Sapphire decks, just because that 3/2 really helps with a variety of aggro situations. Helps you deal with turn 2 Simba, as well as the evasive on your turn. So she's an answer to Pongo and Tinkerbells, like all in one little package. So I think she's a really good option, just dealing with some of those aggro situations that Sapphire has trouble dealing with. So I think that's a really good card that's been added to Sapphire. It gives it a lot of answers that it didn't have before. Before, the best option was Phil, and it couldn't do anything about evasives, and it only had 1 health, so it died to giant fairies and stuff coming on the board. And then we have the Mulan Reflecting, which I'm
she's gonna be
surprised we
sick.
didn't bring up, which is a pretty crazy card. If we get more deck stacking and filtering and things of that nature, then she's going to be even crazier. But a 4 cost 3/3 2 lore, not the greatest stat line, but she shifts for 2, which is kind of cool. So maybe we'll get a 1 cost Mulan. And then her ability, Honor to the Ancestors. Whenever this character quests, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a song card, you can play it for free. Otherwise, put it on the top of your deck. So not only do you reveal your cards so you know what's coming, I mean your opponent does as well, but if it's still just information. But if it's a song, you play it for free, like that's nuts. Like anytime you get to do something for free, that's great. Especially when it's like you're not exerting for this. It's on top of questing and gaining 2 lore. So it's something you want to be doing anyways. So I think she's gonna have a lot of stonks at some point. When that is, I'm not sure, but it's a pretty nutso ability.
Yeah. I think just makes me think of my Pokemon days in deck stacking, and that card would just be crazy. But yeah, any other cards we want to bring up before we wrap up the episode, boys?
I'm good.
Confusing signpost is terrible. That's about all I got.
Yeah, that doesn't seem great.
Filler rare. If you didn't know what it does, it's a 2 cost uninkable And it says banish this item, return chosen character to yours to your hand. So just bounce. Could be good.
Not a great bounce option. I mean, it
No.
is a bounce option, but I feel like there's other better ones.
Yeah.
Already.
Something I will say is we got our 2/2 one cost in Amethyst and its chip.
Yep.
Sorry, Archimedes, you are being replaced by that card. Any other things? Lumiere, really good art.
Phenomenal art.
7 cost inkable, 7/7 strength willpower for 2 lore.
In Ruby.
We got our first 2 cost uninkable Pinocchio. He's 1/1, but he's 3 lore, which could be rather interesting. I think that's the first we've seen, and if trends start, we're gonna say 3/1/1 for 4 lore. But no, that's something I saw on Twitter. But yeah, I think that's about it for all the cards we have. We got a lot, and like I said, at time recording, it's October 30th, which means Wednesday is November 1st, which means we are a month and 2 days out from the start of, or not the start, the release of set 2. So it's closing in. But yeah, I want to say thank you for everyone who listened today. Lots of cards, lots of great goodies, and I was trying to get a lot more. But
we're 2.5 weeks away, man. What?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. What am I saying?
I don't know what you're talking
a
about.
month from big box stores and 2.5 weeks from LGS's.
Yeah, it's literally 18 days from now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Someone should have said something earlier before I went on about that whole rant. Jeez.
Let them cook.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks, guys. We're 2.5 weeks away. But no, that's amazing. That just made me so much happier. So we're going to see a lot of cards in the next 2 weeks, because if I look at Rise of the Flood one, we have 72. Yeah, right. 72. So we still have over 100 cards to get from this set. So yeah, lock in. It's going to be a wild ride for the next 2 weeks. But thank you everyone for listening, and Glimmer on.